Hey everyone, welcome to our May Vibrational Upgrade Clearing and Activations call. We are so wallowing and bathing in these full moon energies from yesterday along with the lunar eclipse. I hope you got to catch a little bit of it. I know here on the East Coast it was like 6 in the morning. It was beautiful. And it is just the start of eclipse season and all the change that flows from there. And it's been really fun to see so many new folks joining our Vibrational Upgrade Facebook group, Sustain a High Vibe and Access Your Magic. Happy to see you all here and happy that you're growing with us. Yesterday, we had a really amazing Zoom call that Dr. Allison led for the Activate Your Magic people. It was lovely. So much going on there. If you're not in that already, you might want to check that out. It's really powerful. So there's a lot of longtime followers that are deciding, this is the time for them to get more of what they're looking for, and they've decided to either join Magic Manifestation and Money Flow or Activate Your Magic. But tonight, Dr. Allison will be talking to some of you. She'll open up the phone lines to give a couple of you a chance to get some laser one-on-one support, and it's a great time to allow and receive clearings as well, and to become empowered and ground in that new fertility that's blossoming in your life right now. So many of you are familiar with Dr. Allison's background, and some of you aren't, because there's a lot of people here that I'm looking at numbers and stuff and cities and states that I don't recognize. So I'm going to give you a little bit of why Allison does what she does. So after she got her bachelor's and master's, she focused her energy on a career in politics, and her goal was to improve the environment through conservation. And her passion was really strong. She was working and getting legislation passed through, but at that time, it was really difficult. In the 90s, not me, but we're really invested in heavily mining and fossil fuels and that sort of thing. And she realized that her mission would be better served by focusing on one person at a time. So she just left that Western machine and headed over to the East, Asia, Taiwan to be specific, to study subtle energy. And she was teaching in the public school system at that time in an international school, and also doing her energy medicine and wellness sessions on the side. So she spent 10 full years there in Asia, and she picked up way more than she even was aware of at the time. She was armed with a lot. And that, along with her years-long practice of meditation and Qigong and a bunch of other stuff that I'm going to list out in a few minutes, this formulated the base of Vibrational Upgrade. That is what her system is. She is the founder, the creator, the dragon woman master of it all. So Allison's been practicing as a mind-body energy healer for more than 25 years. And she's been working in yoga, meditation, Qigong, energy medicine, mind-body fitness, nutrition, longevity, holistic health. She's the only one that I really am aware of who fully understands the flow of energy from the physical body and plane to the universe. And she can flow that energy, I can tell you. She's a total pioneer in the field of energy medicine and consciousness, and is known by her peers as a thought leader. And I mentioned earlier that she spent a decade in Asia studying subtle energy, and that allowed her to become really an expert in that field. She is a specialist in holistic health and has a PhD as a holistic life coach, and a certification as a behavioral change specialist. And that's really what makes her different and stands out, one of the things that is, because that combination is totally rare, and it works. That's the bottom line. She's considered to be one of the leading experts in her field, and more specifically on using the chakra system as the roadmap for thriving in the mind, body, and spirit, and while applying it in a unique way. So her background is pretty remarkable. It set her up to be able to share the stage and collaborate with thought leaders like Bruce Lipton, David Wolfe, Joe Vitale, Krishna Das, Bob Proctor, Reverend Michael Beckwith, Greg Braden, David Wilcox, and Dr. Mercola. And in addition to her vast collaborative network, she is also an accomplished author. She has published 4 books, internationally best-selling books. Her first one was What If There's Nothing Wrong? Next, she wrote Vibrational UPgrade, The Conspiracy for Your Bliss, Easing Humanity's Evolutionary Transition. Now, imagine, it sounds like a long title, but really those words, easing humanity's evolutionary transition, helping everyone, helping the world change. That one was endorsed by Yogi Amrit Desai. He was the founder of the Kripalu Yoga Institute and a client. The next book she wrote was also an internationally best-selling book called Reasonable Dragons, How to Activate the Field of Possibilities Where Logical Magic is the New Normal. That was endorsed by both Bob Proctor and Joe Vitale. That one's available via Audible, or book form, either way. And I totally recommend that download for anyone. And now, just this year, gosh, it's already a few months ago now, she published, and it's out, The Dragon Master Creatrix, Conversations with a Female Spiritual Teacher for These New Times. It's a really fun story because it's written like a story about a woman who travels internationally to a retreat to be trained in energy medicine. And she learns all about sacred sites and stone circles, and she learns how to work with them all, as well as dragons, how to tap into the Earth's energy, how to help the Earth and humanity. And it's really timely, too, because Dr. Allison just wrapped up 3 weeks of retreats with her mastermind students last week. So that was all fun. I am really looking forward to tonight's call, and I can't wait for you all to sit back and relax and enjoy and receive. So if you dialed in by phone, you are able to raise your hand if you'd like to be worked with by pressing *2. Dr. Allison will announce that in just a sec. And so just be comfortable, relax, and lay back and receive. Dr. Allison, are you there?
Yes, Claire, I am.
Yay! My screen went blank, so I couldn't see.
I'm here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, here we go. I hope you all are ready. Welcome. There's loads of new people on here. I'm glad that you followed your guidance and followed the breadcrumbs and are here now. So I was marveling over this week, and please don't tune out if you guys have been around for a while. And if you guys have been around for a while, you have enough presence and mindfulness to know how this path works, and you'll always hear something new. But I'm going to talk about something that some of you may have heard before, because I got a whole new download this week. I'm still totally flying high while really grounded in the beloved earth of ours. The retreats that I just led had me doing, some of you have seen me posting, the equivalent of giving 480 sessions in 3 weeks, and that is just ridiculous. Because the energy medicine system that I work with, I'm trained in 5 different energy medicine modalities before I came up with a combination of what I had gained as a meditation and yoga teacher, including the training in India for applied mindfulness, not like mindfulness where you're present while you're eating an apple and appreciating the juiciness and the crispiness or the tartness or the sweetness, however you dig your apples, but the kind of applied mindfulness that happens as we're creating new neurological pathways to have new behaviors form for your new life after running clearings and activations using the energy medicine part. So that's what Vibrational Upgrade System is. And so I came out of running those ridiculous amounts of sessions, and here we are starting eclipse season. And so I always tell my students who come out who are getting trained as Vibrational Upgrade practitioners from within the mastermind program, it takes about 2 months for these retreats to integrate, and it does the same for me. And this time I was aware that I was doing more attunements than usual because I had an extra leg of extra group of students coming back in for continuing education units. And I remember last time live, because this is now my third round of virtual retreats, I do these in Samhain time, which is October, Halloween, and in Beltane time, which is May, and twice a year live over friends. Students from all over the world fly in and to Glastonbury, the heart chakra of the planet, over in the UK for these. And so I remember the last time I was there live in October of 2019. I had to cancel the whole thing in May 2020 and go virtual with it. The last time I was there live in person, I remember like after the last round of attunements having to like really work to get my vibration to be embodied by the last series of attunements. So I knew a little bit more now and have different practices to be able to ground even more, especially when I'm running that many high frequency sacred attunements. So yeah, I hope you're ready. Strap in. So I was in my integrating of all that I've gained and shifted through. That doesn't even include all of the keys and codes that are activated from the sacred sites we go to and the interactions with the sacred land that always has messages in the heart chakra of the planet and around there and at the stone circles and different sites. Loads of wisdom. It gets activated and it takes a while to integrate, and it's really fun, the integration process, frankly. So one of the things that happened was in the past week since stepping off of them, I had this moment of recognition of just how powerful it was that I was at Chichen Itza for the 2012 Mayan Galactic alignment on December 21st. And appreciating Voice America for reaching out to me when I had been doing nothing in my business about the Mayan Galactic the Mayan Galactic alignment. I had been taking and still take clients on VIP trips to Mayan ruins in the Yucatan and spreading out down into Guatemala and Belize, but hadn't really been talking a lot about it. And out of the blue, Voice America comes in and says, we want you to do a show about the Mayan Galactic Alignment on December 21st, 2012. They came to me the year after I had just returned from the decade in Asia. And I'll tell you what, I went through the worst cultural shock no matter where I was in Asia. It was the hardest to come back to the States. And it frequently is for expats, especially when they're expats for an extended amount of time. And I had already lived in different international locations prior to that decade in Asia, quite a few different times. But that was hard. And so a year after being back here, Voice America reached out and asked me, and I was like, okay, but I'm doing nothing in my business with this. But okay, let me sit with my intuition. And for 48 hours, and then I called them back. It was such a full embodied neon light billboard size yes. And on that show, I had been 2.5 years. Sure, I interviewed bunches of experts that I had quoted in my first book, What If There's Nothing Wrong, who had created the science, different scientific measurements at that point to measure the effects of meditation and chi and consciousness, and then also had specialists on about that alignment and what it was signifying on December 21st, 2012. And I ended up being asked to go on a cruise as a yoga and meditation teacher and the energy medicine practitioner with a panel of experts focusing on, and we're talking like real, I don't know how to even frame them. Some of them were megalithomania appreciators. Some of them were astrologers, astronomers, really well known in the field, had written tons of books, and I was on this panel with them. And when we landed off the cruise in the Yucatan, we had gained special permission to be at the Mayan ruins and work with a Mayan shaman at Chichen Itza. We were all asked to dress in white. I was in bare feet, and I had just been there the year before, taking a client on a VIP trip, and I had been barefoot that year before. The ground felt nothing like it did on December 21st, 2012. I had like lightning bolts coming up through my feet there. So in learning about what that alignment meant and writing my second book about it, and I still mention it in my third book and in my fourth book because of the times we're living in. And the Mayans weren't the only ones to predict these times. Yogi Bhajan, as we change what's known as yugas in the yogic culture, and others have predicted this time of 2012 being a real completion of one era and moving into a new era. And so we're in a 20-year window. And I just had more appreciation this week for just how meaningful and how much my higher self in the universe was working, as always, for us, right? Everything is happening for us, not to us. And how important that was to add to what had already been my mission of seeing how clearly suffering in the West would be reduced and how much more potential we could tap into if we wouldn't run from working within and weren't so externally focused, but instead learned about what we can gain from understanding our subtle energy system, i.e. how the chakras flow energy and how that connects to our consciousness and working with our mind. Remembering that in yoga, there's 8 limbs to it, and only 1 is about the body postures, and 5 of those 8 are about working with our consciousness and mind through meditation and other tools, but primarily meditation. So, yeah. Then I went in 2019 with a friend on the equinox to the Mayan ruins outside of Mexico City, and we hired a native guide, and I asked him, and some of you even heard it on the recording I sent out when I was there, as well as the energy medicine I flowed from you guys on top of the pyramid of the sun, and then another one, just my masterminders on top of the pyramid of the sun part, and the pyramid of the moon was sent out to you guys. And that native Mayan guide said, when I asked him, what do you know about the difference between the old era and the new? He said the old one is one of destruction, and the new one is one of construction. So what I know about this 20-year window from 2012 to 2032 is I felt in 2019, towards the end, we were starting to loop into a different period of this 20-year window, where it felt like all of the crumbling of the old paradigm, the old institutions, the old ways of doing business, of doing banking, of doing education, of doing food industry, food production, distribution, all of the old paradigm that was out of alignment, or were there any abuses of power, or that was just not able to be carried into the new because it was still creating destruction as opposed to construction. I felt like a lot of that crumbling period was completing itself, and we were starting to move into the new, where the building was starting. And some of you remember me talking about that, especially as 2020 started, and then COVID came in. I have been led to tears, and some of you saw me with those tears, and it doesn't happen frequently, to the suffering that humanity seemed to require in order to go through this shift, rather than proactively choosing to work with one's consciousness and vibrationally upgrade, and instead the kind of suffering that was needed to force people to slow down and go inside. That's one possible interpretation. I don't tend to interpret COVID because I've been talking about this cleansing and purging time since 2011. So as we're now where we are with COVID, and I'll talk about that in a minute, we just had the introduction of this eclipse season with Wednesday, which is yesterday. It was a full moon, supermoon, and lunar eclipse, and that's the closest the moon is going to be to us this whole year, hence supermoon. But it also ushered in eclipse season, and we have another partial solar eclipse June 10th. So there's, what I sense is a real period of completion, a real period of eclipsing the old. And the ancients used to be scared about eclipses, and I could go into that, but I talk about that kind of stuff more in my mastermind. It's not appropriate here. Yet, appreciating the power with which they viewed the eclipses seems appropriate here for our purposes. And so, I sense in the work I've been able to do this past week that we are really capable of some massive shifting right now. And there is newness that is just within our reaches. It's no longer out of our reach. It's right here. And each of us, as we step out as increasingly empowered co-creators, where we're, from each choice we make, creating our lives. And so our task, our gig to get up to, is to work with that power, meaning clearing out all the back of the house unconscious and subconscious so we can make the best possible choices with the most presence, the most aligned, heart-singing choices, to create that life where we're constructing together this new paradigm. That's what I'm about. And so I'm aware that in this era of construction, it requires right now patience, especially as we don't know about COVID and what's happening, as we have some countries going into further lockdown and other countries becoming more vaccinated, and people questioning vaccines and people questioning herd immunity and when am I going to travel again? When am I going to, all of those questions you guys are hearing about in the mainstream media. There's just a requirement for patience right now, because it's a beautiful, beautiful, again, all of life is happening for us, not to us. It's a beautiful alignment for us to be able to really take notice of the new and the possibilities of the new, and really getting way more conscious about what it is we actually want to create, right? And I've been talking about this since 2011, way before COVID, but it feels like more clearing was needed for the masses. And it was interesting to me to watch how long COVID has lasted, because it seems like a heck of a lot of clearing was still needed. So I know that we're really attuned here in the West in particular around action, but there's a deep feminine wisdom that recognizes the importance of cycles and cycles of rest and replenishment that are essential to balancing all of our actions, that are actions where we're demonstrating our power and we're making things happen. And I want to suggest that allowing this replenishment for yourself now and allowing this rest and replenishment cycle, if you think of the cycles of the moon, like our full moon, we're still basically under, and then what it looks like when it's the crescent moon, when it's the half moon. Think of that cycle. And then place yourself within that cycle, especially if you're a woman. God knows our menses happens. I, for one, was expecting my period as usual on the new moon to happen the first week of retreats, and I just couldn't have that. And so I asked my body to just please wait, and it did to the last day of retreats, 3 weeks late. Right? So beyond the menses and the moon, there are cycles to life, and there are cycles to each day: sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset. And so even going more with the cycle within a day of your energy flows, in an hour even, allowing yourself rest and replenishment as you need it, knowing that there is so much light pouring down on our planet right now to help us through this time to get into the new era. And there's a lot of people who are grieving, and we'll get to that in a minute too. A lot of people who are confused, a lot of people who are impatient and want to just get back to normal. That impatience and fear, they can cause, and even frustration, it can cause making choices that aren't in your highest and best, almost like in that rebellious moment of like wanting to shake off the having to be patient. And I really just want to flag your attention to that right now, because it's not only up due to what's happening with what I just said with COVID and emerging out of lockdowns, but also the stars and the overall big picture of this 20-year window and where we're at in it. So trusting that you are in a cycle of creation that is about to shift into a new phase, I ask for you to allow yourself more of that trust and to release that impatience or frustration or that fear your ego mind may have from whenever the ego mind encounters the unknown. It grips harder and it wants to exert more control and maybe show up as more force, more efforting, more making it happen, because it just isn't comfortable in the not knowing, right? So with having more mindfulness, and normally I would do clearings around this, but I want to be able to get to callers, so I'm only going to do clearings on two main things I'm talking about in just a few moments. So this is a transmission where you're receiving activated words. So I want you to release that fear that desire to control more or make happen, or impatience. Release it and enjoy this process without having to control or force it. Remembering the cycles of nature, following nature's way is one of the most basic, if not the most basic tenet to Taoist philosophy and all of traditional Chinese medicine. And so if we follow nature's way, like the example of the moon, think of those cycles. And so there are cycles to our creative power and flow. And sometimes it can be hard to let go of a desire to force or control and make things happen, especially when we're conditioned, especially in the West, to take action. That's how things happen. Things don't happen just by sitting back, is the conditioning. But when we're coming more into balance with the yin and the yang, or the masculine and the feminine, which is indeed a central part of this new paradigm, it does show up with cycles of rest and replenishment, moments for expansion, so that guidance can come in. And so that connecting into more than the mind and more than the tasks or the head above the shoulders, where life just seems to be dominated by above the neck. And we're making things happen, and we're forcing, and we're stepping out, and we're controlling. Instead, the balance of the cycles of being a human with a consciousness that has both the yin and the yang to it, having those moments of rest and replenishment where you can actually allow for the expansiveness in a moment in 5 minutes outside, where you are able to come out of the head, if that is the way you live, and drop into your heart and have a piece of intuitive guidance. The next action step you take could accomplish more than 4 months of forcing frantic action steps from your head. So I want you to question and observe yourself as you go through your days, where you might be exerting might and willpower to bring what you wish for into being by your sheer determination, exertion, force, and will. Because the vast creative power of the feminine principle is in honoring and flowing with cycles, those cycles of activity and rest, of releasing that force and surrendering into the perfection of what is happening right now. What would it take for you to surrender into the perfection of what is happening right now? Realizing and recognizing that all of life is happening for you, not to you. Because when you perceive life and live from that, your manifestation and creation abilities exponentialize with greater effect and way less effort. Many of you have heard me say for years, if you work with your subtle energy systems in the way that I know to, then you get to a point where your energy, your consciousness, your field is doing more of the work than what we're all conditioned to believe how work gets done. If your heart chakra stops being closed down and it opens more, you're more able to magnetize to and then receive and allow yourself to receive support. If it's closed down, you don't. So you exert more force and control to make things happen, as an example. So letting that sit, marinate. It also feels like there's an element of grief, because the eclipse is about eclipsing the old and ending that which is not light. Remember, because the light is closed off with a full lunar eclipse, and so we're able to see into the shadows, and full moons do that too. So it's a double whammy. And we feel it even more when it's a supermoon, because it's that much closer to the earth. And I don't know about you all, but I saw some real erratic behavior today. Oh my God. So staying grounded, you can feel the pace with which I'm delivering this, right? Steady, stable, and ready and able to allow yourself to have quantum leaps at the same time. So I know my youngest brother, for example, just lost his oldest pet, his beloved dog, Bee. And I know that there's a lot of grief going on for all of the loss in this past bit of time. And I don't mean only loved ones or loved pets. I also do mean ways of living where you may be grieving the old and you don't yet have the cycle of the new showing itself to you. So you're living more in the unknown. Right? The era of destruction is what's ending, and all the destructive forces in that old paradigm have been crumbling. But the new era, the new paradigm, the new structures aren't yet in place. So I commend all of you for showing up tonight. I commend all of you for having the hearts and the courage you have in being the light you be on this earth right now, and having this awareness and coming to an event such as this where you would have this awareness, because it's needed. Just by you being you and on this call, it's going to help worldwide with you guys, both in the holographic sense as well as your own vibration in your own household. Nonetheless, it feels like it's going to, I don't mean to say nonetheless, so it feels like it's going to help you all kind of get your feet where one foot might be behind you, so a little bit stuck in the mud, or some of your energy maybe is still called by the past or caught up in past hurts or the not knowing and the fear. I just want to do a clearing to help with all the grieving of the old as it goes away, even the hanging on of the old, of that which is outdated and that which has no place anymore moving forward. So what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your bodies be to allow yourselves to welcome the new with more grace and ease than you ever imagined was possible, and letting go of the old with more grace and ease than you ever imagined possible? Anything and everything that doesn't allow for that, would you be willing to burn up with the flames of transmutation? Please say yes out loud.
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. God bless you. Woohoo. Give me just a moment, please, in silence as we move into the clearing. So any and all karma as appropriate that's in any way causing grief to hang on, or being stuck in the past where it no longer serves you, or any and all karma that is ready to be released so you can move forward with more grace and ease than you ever imagined possible, burning up all of that karma as appropriate. All free-floating thoughts and traumas, including but not limited to anything that the experience with COVID has brought in. All imprints from your parents and lineage. All conditioning from the trance of the masses. All contracts, oaths, vows, swearings, promises across all timelines and lifetimes. All beliefs, evaluations, judgments, expectations, and projections you have that are in any way causing it difficult for you to move forward now and to give yourself space for the new to come in with more grace and ease than you could have ever imagined was possible. We're burning it all up now with the flames of transmutation. So I'm going to include in here patience, anything and everything that's also blocking your ability to have just the right amount of patience as the old falls away and completes, and as you welcome the new, while it still may not be visibly apparent. Anything and everything blocking you from having the perfect level of patience is also going to be included here now. Burning it all up. Good. So you may be feeling this around the shoulders, the back of your heart, in between your shoulder blades or at your neck. Some of you may want to inhale and exhale. I perceive some holding. You'll allow more of the energy to come in and break up some of that holding. Through the nose is best, both the inhale and the exhale. Okay. Feels like a lot of you are really soothed. There's even some sleepiness. All of that's normal, as is spaciness, maybe feeling more heat and tingles. So I'm going to go ahead and activate the upgrade now. So any and all latent keys and codes and ancient wisdom, and inherent talents within you, and any and all blessings, the support possible to bring this all into alignment for your highest potential and your highest possibilities to be realized. Activating the upgrade now. I sense a bit more peacefulness out there. Good receiving, y'all. And this works whether you're listening to the replay right now or you're here live right now. Time and space is just a projection. And I, in fact, teach a symbol with which the ancients used to create an etheric tube. So whether you approach it from the quantum physics perspective of time and space, it's just a projection, it's not real, or you approach it from the ancient wisdom and energy medicine perspective, all good. No need for you to be here live to receive the same potency. So I'm going to go ahead first and call on one of my Magic Manifestation and Money Flow Signature Program participants. And it was arranged ahead of time. We just came off of that call and cut it a little bit short in order to come on to be with all of you. And I know what she's going to get to is going to help all of you. And so then I'll open it up to everybody else too. Star 2 is how you raise your hand to get possibility to work with me one-on-one. I always go by my guidance to see who will contribute for everybody the most. So please don't feel bad if you don't get called on. Kim, are you there?
Hi. Yep, I'm here.
Hi, lovely. Do you want to raise what you were asking for before we closed the 3 I'm calling came here?
Yeah. It started off with what's next and about resistance. We had talked for a short bit about starting and stopping, And I will say what you were just speaking and transmitting for this call felt the natural cycles, I felt like you were speaking to me. I know you're speaking to everybody. So it's understanding where I am in this cycle. And I have a sense that I thought what I was going to be doing and bringing forward was going to be this one way, and having allegiance to this one way, and to all of that, you understand. So it's allowing myself to take a different path and the time. And one other interjection is through the 3M program was, I know now things are going more lovingly. There's more loving vibes in my marriage, and that was a big part of my intention with you and 3M.
I know.
And yeah, yay.
So celebrating that.
And that's been a leg for a while. So this feels like a very big shift, and that also feels like it's time for me to be with my husband, and to celebrate that.
Yeah. The fact that you guys took the trip to Santa Fe, I just so loved reading that.
Yes.
And I know that your tone of voice on your very first group call in Magic Manifestation and Money Flow, when you were talking about wanting to get it sorted, whether to stay or go, I heard so much your plea for help me get this sorted. And so it really makes my heart happy for you.
Thank you.
And it's laughter and giggles, and it's just a joy to have escorted you to this point. So absolutely giving yourself time with him to nourish that new yummy space that you guys are in, rather than letting the ego mind leap forward into, okay, what's next? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a example from somebody else who came into Magic Manifestation and Money Flow with the intention she was an accountant in a corporation and wanted to start her own business. She's a single mom with a teen daughter and wanted to be able to spend more time with the teen daughter, and thought that opening up her own business was the way to do it. And so I'm always in surrender. Everything is choice. And it includes who I invite into 3M and then the mastermind, and who I invite in some relatively exclusive environment, right? So that it's a beautiful unity, inclusive experience ultimately. But it's also everybody else's choice if you work with me or not. I'm not for everybody, right? So recognizing and honoring choice and the shifting that occurs. So I have to stay really, backed off way with your intentions as each of you come in to Magic Manifestation and Money Flow, and see as you open, as you clear, as you get much more aligned and your vibration gets higher, if that initial intention, as your higher self comes more on board and your ego mind and self-sabotage backs more off, to support you in whatever emerges in that process. So this woman came in with that intention, and then in her week, how the first 6 weeks in 3M are all about opening up your field to having more possibilities come in. She had in week 4, I think it was 3 or 4 different recruiters reach out to her on LinkedIn unexpectedly, because she wasn't putting a resume out there at all. And she said that. And I said, okay, tell me the 3 different companies or the 4 different companies. And she did. And I told her what I got intuitively, which ones were the higher energy, and to honor the interview with them, she did. She got placed in a job that allowed her more flexibility to work from home and have more time with her teen daughter while making much more money. So that was actually all of life happening for her, not to her. And it was a shift in what her ego mind construed with what she was coming into work with me to get to. as she changed and became a higher vibration, was able to allow in higher possibilities. So thinking back, Kim, to what I was talking about how the ego mind likes to know, I get that. And it's helpful at times to keep us safe and stable. But when we're going to access the new, the mind is absolutely not the tool, because the mind only can access what it already knows. I talk about this in at least half of my books. The nature of the mind. This is coming from Psych 101 when I used to teach AP Psych in the classroom. And my own psych background is my first major in college. The way that our five senses pick up the different input and then process it, going into our brains for data so we can label the input that came in from our five senses. I mean, when I say processing, it can only go to files that are in our brain that exist. So if I'm in Asia and I see a fruit, I don't know what it is. I've never seen it before. And what my brain does, it goes, ooh, that looks like a pear, because that's familiar. That's what I do know. And ooh, I'm in Asia. Let's call it an Asian pear. So when you're going for the new, your mind can only access what it already knows. So it is not the tool to use to get you into living beyond the state you've been living in. So it is in your highest and best interest, and it behooves you to be able to sit with the resistance, and we'll do a clearing on it for all of you right now. That's a great part why we're working with Kim right now for all of you, because this is so frequent in this time right now in particular, where your ego mind wants to say, yeah, this is the path. Yeah, this is the person. Yeah, this is the way. When in fact, the universe is busy rearranging stuff on your behalf to make it come in even better. Does that make sense to you, Kim?
Yeah, it does. And I know, and as you're speaking, this dark cloud, that's literally a dark cloud in the sky, is breaking up, and the sun is super bright right now. It feels really flipping good. And that may be from the mind.
No, but hold on a second.
What I desire is what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you are a conscious co-creator, this is the difference between the old paradigm and the new paradigm and being an empowered co-creator right here, right now. You take that interpretation of that sun and that cloud and you let it work for you. And you choose, instead of you being at the mercy of your thoughts, you choose the thoughts that create the kind of reality that you're actually desiring. Because we are getting you free from that triggers, the automatic robotic living, as we do more and more clearings on the back of the house consciousness. So you have more consciousness instead of being locked down as a block, Kim, up in your conscious mind for more presence, to make more conscious choices with more mindfulness or more presence. So that means you can make those choices that actually honor where you want, where your heart sings to go, not with them. When I say want, I don't mean the mind. I know you're following me, right?
I am. Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
Are you getting what I'm saying, though?
What I want to ask is, what does that feel like?
It feels like living in surrender, and it feels like being able to flip on a dime, in all frankness. It feels like it is a dance. When you are a conscious co-creator, it doesn't mean that you're completely erratic. It doesn't mean that you're unstable when I say flip on a dime, just to have a complete understanding. It's this but not that when teaching a new concept. So it feels like I'm fluid. It feels like I'm actually working with the wave that all energy exists in before a repeated thought or a strongly emotional thought collapses that wave at the subatomic level into a physicalized particle or reality. So it feels like I'm in a flow, right? Magic, manifestation, and money flow. Flow is the key word there. When you're in the flow, you can manifest as if by magic, and that includes money. So when you're becoming a conscious co-creator, which is the constructive part of this new paradigm, where we're not giving up our power to our boss to make decisions, to our spouse to make decisions for us, or even to God, but we're working in co-creation with the divine or with our higher self, that which makes our heart sing, that which is aligned. When we choose that, That's the co-creation act. And that inspiration can come in just in 5 minutes when we're looking at a dark cloud parted by the sun. And we have an aha. As long as your heart gets lighter by that aha, that is truth. Right. And you create from that. And so what we're doing is working to clear out your consciousness and reassemble it, frankly, in a way that it allows you to make those choices repeatedly, that which will make your heart sing, rather than those choices that close down the area around your head that make you feel more like you're in a box or a cage. Right. Do you understand? Yeah. You got it.
I do.
Yeah. So it's a totally different thing, because it's even what is heard in the New Age or spiritual community about being a conscious co-creator. I feel like people go into the other swing of the pendulum, where either your ego mind is forcing, making things happen and controlling, or you're in total surrender. It's a dance between surrender and active choosing and action taking from that moment of expansion, and that inspiration hits. And it says, yes, do that. Then you have to action out that, yes, do that thing. But that, I'm telling you, when you ask me what does it feel like, that one action step, I have a PhD. I've lived around the world. You have a good sense of my accomplishments, right? I've done a lot of doing and making things happen. But when we take an inspired action step, I swear to God, that can cut down like 4 to 6 months to even a year, or I don't even know how long, of constant making things happen from that old energy and that old action. When we are in alignment and we are inspired and our heart opens and we take that action step out of courage and trust, so much shifts, because it acts as a command to the universe from our soul, not from our mind, which is like, it's not powerful. Our heart is at least 10 times more powerful, and it's messaging to the universe. So when our heart is happy, light, and joyous, and we're making choices from there, you more easily compound upon that and grow a momentum towards living what your heart gets light from, rather than like the years of forcing and efforting. That's a really small, minuscule message that the universe hears, and basically it hears contraction. Okay, here's more of that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, and I have experienced moments of that. There has been I've created from those places at times in my life, and
yep.
I know when I dance, I'm much freer. So yes.
Okay, what we're going for, sister, is for you to live from that. Because I hear that a lot. Like, I've had moments of that. I'm not talking about epiphany moments or ecstatic moments. I'm talking about living for that. I don't need any drugs. I'm living in constant buzz. So what we're talking about is, and it's completely possible. That's what I'm doing all the time in my work, especially at the more advanced levels, And so it is not only possible, it's what I have seen, this vibrational upgrade system that got created through me as I listened to my guidance and let it literally just get created through me and piece it together from my following of the breadcrumbs, from like literally searching around the world. When I asked the question, how do we be the happiest, most thriving versions of ourselves, and what would it take for me to get the most robust results possible for my clients, picking up and moving across the planet for 10 years and pissing off my family and friends who are local, but doing it anyway because I had to follow my guidance. And so this system works. I see it over and over again. People getting freer, people getting less triggered, people being able, like we just had Terry in the mastermind. She just let herself buy a red car that she's been wanting for a long time, a Fiat, and she didn't. Usually do I need that? No. Should I? No. Minimalist living, and instead she's like, what? She was giddy like a little girl when she did it. That joy factor, living from that, creates more of that. And money loves to come in and play on that kind of vibration. It doesn't like to come in. It can't get in when we're like focused on lack, because we're pushing it away. Love can't get in. Support can't get in. That wants to get in when we're worried and we have like a plan and we don't listen to our guidance and don't tune into what makes our heart sing. So it's an aspect of learning how to live from the heart. Kim, and everybody else listening, I just had 2 different masterminders during the retreats tell me that they were doing a practice on their workshops. And they were talking about their experience before finding me, and they said that they were attracted to the law of attraction, and it helped them. I love the law of attraction and what it has opened up in our society. But what I find is that people don't know the how. And what these two masterminders were saying repeated that confirmation for me when they were like, Allison, you taught me the how to live it. So when you say, Kim, I've had moments of that, I'm saying that's not good enough. We want you living from that in this new era. Yeah. Okay. So hold on a second, because that might actually be what wants to get run rather than, no, let me do the two together to cover both. Okay, so let me just tune in on how to best frame this to get the most accomplished.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm rubbing my head right now. Okay. Oh, let's do it this way. Fun. Kim, you're so cool. I don't get to run this clearing a lot, this version, but you're so dreamy and you're really good with visual, like I don't want to say visualizing, but you're really good with visioning. Am I wrong there?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
Okay. So who would you be if you were living with so little resistance in your life towards what your higher self and heart really wants to create, that you barely recognized how free and happy and joyous and successful you were as you move forward? Making choices that create a life that surprises you by the sense of constantly being in the flow with it all. Anything and everything that doesn't allow for that, would you, Kim, and everyone else like to burn up with the flames of transmutation?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for being a surrogate, too, for your yes, with your yes. So I'm going to get silent for a moment because I want to call in some extra help for this. So any and all karma as appropriate that is in any way causing resistance to the new and to following your heart and living in the flow of it all and creating from there, burning up all of that karma as appropriate. Again, this is for all of you, including our beloved Kim. Any and all free-floating thoughts and traumas all imprints from your parents, your lineage, all conditioning, all contracts, oaths, vows, swearings across all timelines and lifetimes, including but not limited to anywhere you were a prisoner or tortured or limited in some capacity. So you're used to being limited rather than free, burning all of that up. And any and all beliefs, computations, conclusions, ideas, expectations, projections that would in any way cause you to live in your resistance and not allow you to consistently live in the flow with it all, making choices that create a life that will make your heart sing in such a way that surprises you. Burning it all up now. The flames of transmutation. Including the need to know, including the conditions, so it's coming up, including the conditioning of knowing a plan is the way to proceed, including you're better off the more you have planned, including strategies are the way to go, including attachment to the way you're used to doing things, including attachment to relying on your mind, including burning up also where you're afraid of letting yourself become even more free, and living from more wild parts of you, the untamed parts of you, and where that scares you, burning all of that up. Including when the resistance shows up as control, and that control shows up as the mind with its strategies and plans and computations of this is the way to do it. And including when you listen to it, even when you know it's not what you really want, the compulsion to follow the mind and its plans and strategies, all of that, and all the conditioning that's led to that, burning all of that up. Intellectual figuring is getting burned up. All of the places where you've been taught to rely on the intellect as the way to have the success. All of the abuse of the feminine and of the not listening to the wild intuition and the freedom, all the suppression of that, all of the control exerted in the last bunch of centuries of that wild aspect to the feminine, the fear that that brings up. So the increased control through the mind and rationalizing, not rationalizing, but rational thought. All the places where that's out of balance at this stage, burning all of that up. Oh, that's big. Kim, can you please inhale and exhale if you haven't already?
Yeah, I will.
Your third and second are really getting wheeled on. All the places where you don't trust yourself. All the places where you think that your heart can't guide you, it can't possibly know. It's your mind that knows. Where you feel unsafe. Honoring that wilder part of you. That more mystical part of you. And where that scares you, to listen to that, where it's new for you. And the familiarity of relying on the mind, you want to do that, and it shows up in the resistance. All of that would love to get burned up, and is getting burned up. And I'm hearing, bottom line, too, just fear of being free. The mind keeps it more controlled. The mind's conclusions of this is the path, this is the way. And it's showing up as resistance to actually just getting more free and living more from your heart in that wilder, freer, co-creative way. All the places where you've been taught not to trust. I bet you are, Kim. I'm wailing on it. The second and third in particular.
Thank you.
I'm wailing on you. All of the places where you've been taught to not trust your intuition, where you've been talked out of trusting your intuition, where you've been shown it's the mind that should be relied on. All of the conditioning, again, from that paradigm. I know you've mentioned some of it from the way that your husband earns his money. That's getting burned up right now. That influence that's come into your life via him with that.
Yeah.
In all the places where any of you have just been taught to not, it's not okay to live this way, that you need to be living in an orderly way from the mind, and that somehow if you listen to your heart, your life is going to blow up in some disorganized, destabilized way. And so if you just stay with the mind and its strategies and plans, you're safer. And you'll fit in. So there's some fear of not fitting in. There's a lot of unconscious conclusions about if you become that version of yourself, what will happen. This isn't all yours, Kim, that part, that last one. Mm-hmm. It's like roaring out loud, so loud I'm rubbing my head. Wow. Okay, so, wow, that's rich. Thank you, Kim. I'm going to go ahead and activate the upgrade now. So any and all latent keys and codes and ancient wisdom within you, and any and all blessings and support possible to bring this all into alignment for your highest possibilities and your highest potential to be realized. Activating the upgrade now. Whew. How you doing, Kim?
Boy, a lot of shaking. It feels, I'm very grateful. There's so much of what you said that felt spot on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it works well because you trust me. You open up and you just let me read it all. Well done.
Yep.
Fist bump. Yep.
Thank you. Fist bump. Thank you for being you're so fun. Thank you.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, fun is good.
Yep.
And it's more accessible the less we're in our heads. Swear to God.
Yep.
Oh, wait, hold on. Here's one more thing. There it is.
I
Bye,
love
Kim.
that.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my honor. Thank you. Great contribution for everybody. Thank you. Okay. So giving me just a moment now to tune in. We're going to bring on somebody else from you all who raised your hands, pressing star 2, and see who else is going to be. Santa Rosa, California. Who's this? Hello? Okay, you've got me echoing. I'm going to close that one down. I'm going to go to the second one I got to hit with. Who is this in Romantic, Connecticut? You have your hand raised?
Hello.
It's
Hello.
you.
Hi, this is Patty Roberts.
Hey.
Patty, I'm going to ask for a favor, and I'm going to ask to work with somebody from the general population rather than going with another person for magic manifestation and money flow, if you're okay with that.
As guided. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. If you do have a question, feel free to put it in the group tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being you. Okay, so I actually just saw somebody pop. Carbondale, Illinois. It's you. Hello? Carbondale, Illinois, with a 618 area code. I don't have a name.
That's me. Hello, it's Brenda. It's Brenda.
Oh, my God, Brenda, you have been all around the field with coming in to activate your magic. Oh, my God, you're so funny. Okay.
Life is good.
Wow. Yeah, you're wanting some help, so you get a system that just gets noticed. Okay, so I'm going to trust this, and this is not planned, y'all, this one. Brenda, if you could ask for anything tonight to help you, what is it that you want to ask for?
You know, I've been thinking about this and hoping that I would be picked, and now nothing is coming to mind. Everything seems so fun.
Oh, you're cute. Yeah, you've had a hell of a week with the 3 deliverables from Activate Your Magic. So can I ask you, would you let me call on somebody else like I just did with Patty?
I'm sorry, what?
So can I ask you, would you let me do what I just did with Patty? And because you're in Activate Your Magic and you just got those 3 deliverables this week, and let me go to somebody else who is in the general population, not in one of the 2 programs?
Yes, I just love that we connected. I talk to you at night. Do you hear me?
Brenda, I'm noticing you. Right from the get-go, I've noticed your name. It's been popping.
You. Okay, go on.
Much love back. You're funny. Okay. So that laughter. Rock on, Brenda. Excellent. Okay, so you're Illinois. All right. So, I want to see if Santa Rosa has opened up yet. Santa Rosa, California. Did you realize I called you? You have the area code 707.
Yes, is that me?
It is you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I could. Before, I didn't know if I was supposed to be touching a button or whatever. On another conference call I'm on, they make you, press another star thing.
No pressing nothing more. Who are you?
Okay. My name's Connie.
Hi, Connie.
And a lot of what you said on different levels tonight has really resonated for me. And what I'm going through right now in front of me is I am attached to physical items, like borderline hoarderness. And I know I've had a million therapy sessions and readings and whatever. I know all the possible reasons what they came from, probably even more. And I've done all kinds of different theta healings and stuff, but I still look at things and can't get rid of them. And everything dredges up a sentimental thing, or somebody's going to pollute the planet if I don't put it in the exact right place where it goes. And I've done your chakra healing, the root chakra, a whole lot. I listen to that one pretty often. But I'm just wondering if you can pick up on something I've missed on what what needs to really be cleared.
I don't recognize, because I don't want to ask you to give your last name. I don't know. Like, I can see a lot of the names of the people who come in and buy the Chakra Attunement audio series, but sometimes if you use just a credit card, I don't see what you buy. Did you buy the Chakra series?
I bought the series when you were having a sale, and I actually emailed back and forth, and you even did a little quick blurb for it, because I had asked you a question about it and how to use it, and you quickly did a voice thing. So, but I didn't tell you it was about this that I was really drawn to, because you had listed that under the, the first chakra.
Yeah.
And
Honey,
so I
how long
thought,
ago was that?
But I got maybe, was it a New Year's sale or something? You'd had a big sale.
Yeah, then, okay. And then you wrote into the
them.
support desk, or did you reach me directly somehow? Do you remember?
I emailed, and your email person,
my support desk, my VA, Larissa.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you actually did a voice clip, and you said, "Try it, go for it," because I was asking, is this chakra thing a good place to start, or am I gonna? Because right then I had, and it's still true now, I don't have investment money to join any thing, and so I was, trying to see if that was a good place.
What you have.
Right now, and I know that hanging on to items keeps your flow stuck, so that would have to do with bringing in money or not as well,
Yep. So I'm going to challenge you, Connie. I'm going to, sure. This was a little bit ago. We're 5 months in. Thank you for saying sure to that. Look at you.
Yeah.
You are ready. Okay. So I'm going to challenge you, and then I'm going to ask you a question before I move into a clearing for you. I'm glad that you're on the free monthly call, and then I called on you tonight. I was apparently determined to get back to whoever that was behind Santa Rosa, California. I'm glad to serve you. So I'm going to challenge you to, that chakra series is unbelievable. The results it gets, I use it as it's part of the magic manifestation money flow. People get that as they come in order of the chakras I was guided to help with manifesting. It's not root, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. It's a different order. But why I am saying that is because it's a backbone, and it works better when it's with what I'm going to call updates. So for $97 a month, you can be and activate your magic, and you get 4 deliverables. You get a new moon and a full moon, typically a half an hour of sacred activations that I record the day before and then get sent out to you. And then you get 2 live events with me. One is an hour long where I'm reading everybody on the call and I'm going up into the space I need to go to deliver an hour long of clearings. I just dump on you all, clearing after clearing after clearing. It's ridiculous. And then the Zoom event that I do where there's a bit of interaction. So what that can do is update your field. So if you're working with the chakra series behind the scenes every day, and it's not just the root, because I'm not getting it's just the root for you. While that is what's listed on the website. Yeah, you're saying right. You got it.
No, I've done them all, but I go back to that one and the heart a lot too, because I feel real constricted there.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a great part why I'm suggesting activate your magic as a companion to it. It's only $97 a month. Do whatever it takes that you have to do to get $97 a month. Everybody can get that. I don't want to say everybody can get that. Excuse me for those of you who can't. I'm in service to everybody equally. Well, that's not true, honestly. When people pay more, I give them more. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Right.
Yeah, so I really want to suggest to you, though, from what I've seen with that chakra series, you're going to get more change in all areas of your life if you keep yourself updated through using Activate Your Magic, listening to those recordings. So what I see people do, so subtle energy is subtle energy, and to get something in the physical changed, now I'm talking about like a physicalized issue in your body or something to the level of hoarding, because it is now extended to the physical environment, even though it's mental and emotional and spiritual. It's not like a physical malady. Okay. When it translates into something more physicalized, it takes more clearings. Like if I can catch something going on at an emotional level before it would then become a physical malady to cause us to deal with that emotional thing we're running from, because that's how, when we're working at the holistic level and really getting to the root of something, how we work. So if I can get at something that is mental or emotional or spiritual, if I'm not dealing with heavy karma or past life trauma, can also be easier than something physical. So it's like one subtle energy clearing, meaning shift, plus, so if you just think of it like a math equation, plus another subtle energy clearing or shift, plus another equals bigger shift. So there's an accumulation factor that happens. And what I see people do in my programs is that they live with the clearings basically so that they're attuning their vibration constantly. And I hear a lot of people say, Dr. Allison, I go to sleep at night. Like you kind of heard Brenda just say, I talk to you every night. Some people say to me, I go to sleep every night with your voice in my ear. And frankly, Connie and everybody else, that took a while to get used to. Because once my stuff started getting used out there, I was aware after a while that, hey, I'm not alone in my field anymore.
And in fact, I have done that too. Fall asleep with those headphones on with you doing one of the clearings.
Yeah, it's a great way to go to sleep. You want to just make sure, Connie, that you listen to the clearings consciously just the first time, and then maybe like a couple of months when you're really noticing a certain chakra, your attention's drawn to a certain part of your body, or you just know, oh my God, like you said, my heart feels really constricted. Go back in and listen consciously one time rather than like when you use it in the background or going to sleep, because then you're going to have more mindfulness and more presence around what's getting cleared so you can come out of that behavioral pattern sooner.
Okay.
So I'm also perceiving that there's a third chakra element here, and it feels like you were out of breath when you were talking before. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, let me just ask, was it because you're excited to finally get to me live, or was it because it's probably making you feel out of breath?
I was in the other room with the computer on, and I knew you were going to call on me. And so it's still on in the other room, and I had you hooked onto my phone, and so I was trying to figure out, do I have to push anything? And so I ran to the back room, and so that it wouldn't be echoing in the computer with you, so that I didn't have to mess with anything. So I ran, and so that's why. But also I'm nervous, so
Did you just say also I'm nervous?
Also, I am nervous, so I'm probably my heart is probably beating a little faster, which would cause me to be in a little anxiety breath thing,
I do, and the reason why I'm asking, thank you for that perfect answer and that self-awareness, Connie, is because anxiety is something that is connected to the solar plexus or the third chakra or the upper belly chakra that starts the digestive system. You don't happen to have any gastric upsets or tendency to burp a lot or anything like that, do you?
Not in general. I can generally eat anything. However, I have heard other people say when clearings have been done, gee, I'm burping. And with the last woman, something you said related to her thing, I was also going, oh, this relates to my issue too. And I started burping. And I thought,
Yep.
So I did tonight.
Yeah. And I told her, I told Kim, you probably heard me say I'm really going out your second and third. Did you hear that?
Yeah. And I was happy. Yeah. I was happy to hear that because I know my second and third, my power, is constantly challenged, and my creative, that part too, the second chakra and the third.
Well, the creative is more the fifth chakra. Like, I'm not going to get into that right now because I want to go back down to what you said. What?
The throat, yeah.
Okay. But I want to go to what you just said about your power. You perceive your powers in your second and your third. Is that what you just said to me?
Uh-huh. My power in my third, my solar plexus, and I feel like I've given it away quite often, and there's a lot of past history in this lifetime from, family of origin stuff with that, but, not allowed to make your own boundaries. So I'm just learning how to do that.
Okay, so the more you listen to that third chakra, and particularly, this is also the fourth, because boundary drawing happens with the fourth too. I want you to listen to both of those, one each day, because I don't feel like you're ready yet. You could probably handle two in a day, but what I would like to see you do is, as I've already said, join AIM and let those clearings run more frequently, because that will help get your vibration higher, and it will help bring in more mindfulness around then what you're doing with the core work of the Chakra Attunement audio series. So if you're
saying go back and forth?
I'm saying you could play 3, like just this week. The Zoom event was last night for the eclipse. They got the full, and you would get this if you signed up tomorrow, any of you would. The full moon sacred activations was sent out on Tuesday. And then also the Tuesday night was the hour-long group clearings and activations call where everybody's on mute, and I'm just reading your fields, all of your consciousness, sometimes knowing, not all of your consciousness, I mean everybody on the call, whatever's up that wants to be cleared is what I'm reading. There'll be a little bit too much information. You can hear me almost like going into So that hour long, it's just so much clearing is why I talk like this. It in and of itself, that one call is worth $97, frankly, the amount of clearing work I do. So if you play those in the background all the time, that's what I'm talking about. And then the Chakra series, because they're heavy hitters, powerhouses, I would only listen to one a day. About 3 months time from now, if you're in AIM, having your vibration raised from the listening to the recordings, you'll be able to handle like 2 chakra recordings a day. But as of right now, I still want to suggest, like tomorrow, you listen to the heart, consciously hear the clearings on it. You could even go back in and listen to the first track that is the instructional part, the shorter part that talks about the blocks a little bit more than on the website, and do the same for the solar plexus. So that way you're going to be able to have more consciousness and awareness and mindfulness around your behavioral patterns. Because it's almost like you'll hear my coaching, and I coach too on the Zoom event that's a part of Activate Your Magic. So the third chakra, you told me you have a sense of giving away your power. What I sense is, and tell me if this is correct, Connie, please, you have a history of as if feeling like you don't belong or don't fit in, or there's something wrong and you have to make up for it, and you tend to feel almost responsible for other people's feeling good. Yeah, and also take care of other people, taking care of somebody who's brought home a homeless woman and let her live with me for a year and a half, and paid, practically supported her. I've given the shirt off my back, and yet now I have too many shirts, and okay, but that's it. Hold on, so stop right here, because that's it. So because you're giving away so much, it's almost like what you do allow yourself to have, my God, is your grip tight. So because I have been stolen from too. It's also I've been stolen from and recently betrayed financially, not by her, by somebody else. So it's like all of a sudden it flared back up, And had you been listening to the Chakra series prior to that happening? Not really recently. I hadn't. I'd had some other energy clearing work done, and but I hadn't listened to the Chakra series really recently, not really within the past couple of weeks. I haven't. Yeah, I can feel it's not in your field. But nonetheless, you were doing some kind of clearing work. And I'm asking that because when we're working on clearing out an issue, the way our systems are designed to let go is, as you've read in the document, right, that goes along with the Chakra 2 and Auto series about the healing response. It's like a fever has to peak before it breaks. And so some of the time, not all the time, we'll be presented with a situation in our lives that is resonant with the pattern we're moving through to give us the opportunity to move through it in that new way. So, you got that? Yeah. Like you say with the fever thing, often it gets worse before it gets better. You're popping. So when you just, and so when you just mentioned the betrayal, that is, you had given financial help to somebody and then they betrayed you by not paying you back. Did I understand that correctly? I'm inferring that. That's going on. That's going on right now. Yes, it's a very, very deep thing. It's a what? It's very, very deep and very intense right now, and it's okay. It's huge. Okay, so I want to help you get over this because you're close to chiseling away at getting a handle on this. When you said when you said yes, when I said I'm going to challenge you, when you said okay, that also indicated your readiness. So I might go a little bit stronger, also because you've been listening to the Chakra 2 and always says I might go a little bit stronger with my clearing than I otherwise would. Like I would go in more gently and cautiously and do less with somebody who wasn't working with my stuff already. So you, it's just out of integrity, right? So you have the tools with which you can then go use as you move beyond from this clearing I'm about to run. Connie, it seems to me that you are needing, as I already said, because you're giving away in energy, in love, in effort, in time, that flow is, if you just go, here's the Qigong teacher in me, if you just go simply to energy flows, your energy flow, is it accurate to say, goes more out to others than in for you?
Well, I never thought about it in that way. Maybe,
So we break this down.
Part of that is the programming, the Judeo-Christian. Oh, everybody else matters more. You don't matter.
Right,
Do what you can for everybody else. So maybe I'm imprinted with that, and I took it in way big.
Well, Connie, it's not just that, my dear. God bless you. It's not just that. It is that. I'm kind of, you hear me say, yeah, because I know this. I work with this clearing consistently, and a person who gives from the kindness of the heart and because of the conditioning. If you're on this call, you're relatively spiritual, and so if you're relatively spiritual and if you're attracted to my work, you have a good heart. So like if I were talking to a bunch of narcissists, I wouldn't say the things I'm saying to all of you. But because you're kind and loving and giving and caring, I'm saying to you, we need to have you hold on to some of that rather than give all of that away. Whereas with a narcissist, it's the exact opposite. So everything comes down to energy. To simplify it all, everything comes down to energy. It's our first language. So when you are giving, that's away from you. If you spend very little time in self-care or self-nurturance, and in fact, the only way it shows up is I have to fix this problem I have, let me listen to these clearings, that's not self-care. That's still the energy behind it is there's something wrong with you, got it. So what this third chakra that has the clear sentient machinery in it, picking up on what others feel, that's what in great part it does, and that's in great part why it gets anxious, because it perceives the anxiousness of others. And that's where anxiousness gets perceived and felt. And then you add that to it being the start of the digestive tract, without considering the bile that gets released, the digestive juices in the bile at the throat chakra, at the thyroid. Leaving that out, the beginning of the actual breaking down of food in the belly, it starts at the third chakra. Okay. So hence the gastric upset. If you combine that with the anxiety, so anxiety is kind of full of air. It's not solid and real. It's a lot of air. And so that's going to cause the burping. So then you therefore, because you give, I'm going to say the word everything, away, then the stuff that you do have, you have to hold on to, because that's the way that you're giving back to yourself. So once we move you, you got it now, so there's a lot of other people out there. Once we shift you beyond that imbalance, and the third and the fourth chakras are very much involved here, as is the root is the secondary one with this pattern, with you. The third and the fourth are the ones that we want to go at now, alternating those two. And let me listen now to what would help you the most now. I'm going to trust, Connie, that you're going to join Activate Your Magic, so I'm not going to do some other clearings. I'm going to do Have you had a clearing yet with the other work you've been doing around the conditioning that you mentioned about it's important for me to be, in order for me to be perceived as a good person, I must give to others?
I've had different clearings along those lines. And definitely when you said that there's something wrong with me, yes, I just feel defective. And that I'm just constantly trying to fix myself, and I'm always trying to plug in a new meditation or a new clearing, and then I'll, oh yeah, it's the Allison night. I have to plug into her and get fixed that way. And, I'm just the wrong person in the world.
You just what? The phone cut out a little.
I'm just the wrong person for this world. There's something wrong with me. And,
so you do know the title of my first book is What If There's Nothing Wrong?
I've seen that one. I have Reasonable Dragons, but I thought, that one is probably something I should check into also.
No, don't yet. Don't do What If There's Nothing Wrong. It's the most texty book. It's the longest book I've written, and it's a lot of, it's really required in my training of vibrational upgrade practitioners. You're fine with just Reasonable Dragons.
Work for me right now.
Yeah, just go into AIM. That's what's going to get you the most help, along with the Chakra series. Forget the books for right now.
Go into what?
Go into the Activate Your Magic program, the $97 a month. Save your money, do that, please.
Okay, I'll see if I can cut something else out. I don't have an income right now, and I figured that was totally connected to this stagnation I have going on, plugged up.
It is, and I'll tell you what, Connie, too, when people join, because joining Magic Manifestation and Money Flow is a 4-figure investment, when people join that and they manage down their own fear about money and they throw it on their credit card, I have seen time and time and time again, just got news of it again today, of another person, they have almost the exact amount come back to them, some of them in the same afternoon, others in heaps or pieces within a week or two. It's just phenomenal. So there is a shift that happens in regards particularly with money. I was talking about this a little bit before, but particularly with money, no, I will have this. That shift that when we spend on something for ourselves that we want, rather than putting the energy into bills, then the energy gets redirected towards, money is meant to be used for stuff that I want. There's a shift in the energy flow, and there's a shift in what the universe perceives around us with our relationship to money, and then it's also just such a clarion call. I've seen it time and time again. It's a phenomenon for me. You can hear the incredulity in my voice. It really is a phenomena. It's like that singing out of the soul going into a claiming of a new level of, no, I will have this. It's just it's phenomenal. So I feel like if you were to take the risk from my challenge of going into Activate Your Magic, that would also help you shift. Because if we're going to unplug where you're plugging yourself with the hoarding, that's going to leave space for the new to come in. The new needs space, and it can't reach you, including money, as you've already said, if you're all plugged up.
Right.
So you're wise to have listened to the root chakra, because there's a pattern I talk about basically what I asked you. Do you feel like you really don't fit in or don't belong, and so therefore you have to make it up by being extra nice to people? When it's that, it's the root. Yep, it's the root and the third. So, but then that's the primary problem. That's the primary gig. There's something wrong with me. And then the second gig is, and because of that, I make up for it by giving. And I'm not worthy of receiving what I want. I'm meant to give is a third one. So there's a family of entangled beliefs.
I was going to say, I'm not worthy. Don't forget, I'm not worthy. And you said it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm doing. I'm going through the family. It's like a ball of yarn, a family of entangled beliefs. Yep. And this is, again, why I'm suggesting going into Activate Your Magic, because I can get to these things better than I can on the chakras in live real time as you're listening to the chakras. So I can double team you so that you moving forward quicker. So why don't we do I'm unworthy, and there's something wrong with me.
Okay.
I'm just wrong. There's something wrong with me. I'm just wrong. I'm wrong, and I'm unworthy. What about I'm wrong and I'm unworthy?
Yeah, it feels, that's the way I get love, is trying to prove that. Yep.
Wow, listen to that statement. Well done, Connie. That's the way I get love, is trying to prove that.
It's unlovable feeling, so the worthiness,
Because there's something wrong with me, I'm therefore unworthy, and I'm therefore unlovable. I can't do all three. There's too much in the first two.
Pick. You pick.
Hold on, I'm listening to my intuition right now. If I should just stick with, there's something wrong with me. I mean, I'm basically unworthy. That's why I give to others. There's something wrong with me. Let's deal with there's something wrong with me. And I'll bring in I'm unworthy with it. Okay. So all of the, no, let me not do it that way. What energy, space, and so everybody get ready, because this is for all of you. What energy, space, and consciousness can me and my body be to perceive, know, be, and receive how worthy I am and how inherently right I am? That's not going to get it. You can't handle that yet. Inherently right I am. That just lost you. What energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be, Connie, and all of you, to allow yourselves to move beyond, to eclipse the pattern with there's something wrong with me and I'm unworthy? Anything and everything that doesn't allow for that, would you be willing to burn up with the flames of transmutation?
Yes.
So any and all karma as appropriate that has in any way created or is perpetuating there's something wrong with me, I'm inherently wrong, and I'm unworthy. Burning all of that karma up on your behalf, Connie, as well as all of the beloveds listening now and to the recording. As appropriate. Any and all free-floating thoughts and traumas that have in any way created there's something wrong with me, I'm wrong, I'm unworthy. Burning up all of those traumas. All the imprints from your parents and lineage, carrying that and imprinting you with I'm wrong, there's something inherently wrong with me, I'm unworthy. Burning all of those imprints up. That wasn't even yours to begin with. Good. All of the conditioning. All of the contracts, oaths, vows, swearings, promises across all lifetimes and timelines that has ever caused or created I'm wrong, there's something inherently wrong with me, and I'm unworthy. Burning all of those contracts, oaths, vows, and swearings up across all lifetimes and timelines. All of the conclusions and beliefs and judgments and expectations and the projections you have out onto life that create
and perpetuate, look at me, there's something wrong with me, I'm inherently wrong, I'm unworthy. Burning it all up now with the flames of transmutation. I'm going to tone for some of the chakras that are relevant here, using English vowel sounds instead of the Bija seed tones in my yogic training. Honey, will you take your neck and do some neck rolls, please? First to the front, now to the right, now to the back, now to the left. Turn your head to the right, turn your head to the left, and shake out your arms, please. Good. You're shifting a bit. Good. Breath. Your right hand and put it over the top of your belly, please, in the center.
Okay.
Move it up to your heart now, please, the heart chakra. Yeah. Activating the upgrade now, leaving your hand there. Finding all ancient keys and codes and wisdom and latent talents within you. And any and all blessings. And support possible to bring us all into alignment for your highest possibilities and your highest potential to be realized. Activating the upgrade now. Okay, this is a marathon free monthly call, you all. Connie, blessings to you. I hope you all have enjoyed. Much love.
Thank you.
Night, night. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
Namaste.